up, man? It's your big brother K-Rino. And look, didn't get a chance to really go into this, but I want to touch on it real quick. A second grand juror in the Breonna Taylor case has come out and basically agreed with what the first grand juror came out and said, and that was that Daniel Cameron, the Attorney General in Kentucky in charge of the case, never gave the jurors an option for any other charges outside of the wanton endangerment that ended up being applied to uh, Brett Hankerson, one of the officers involved. Um, Daniel Cameron kind of made it look like, hey, it was all on the grand jury. Hey, they did what they did, and this is what we have. But in reality, no murder charge or anything under that was even placed on the table for them to choose from. So they basically had to dig through the scraps and come up with the best slap on the wrist that was offered to them. Now, the second grand juror, which I'm sure there will be others, and there are others who feel the same way, and eventually we may see others come out. And that's why Daniel Cameron was scrambling around trying to make sure, hey, we don't need to release this, we don't need to get this information out because he covered up for those officers. And it's just plain and simple. It's just what it is. He covered up for those officers and they murdered that sister. They murdered that young lady. It's plain. It doesn't matter all of the other little um, ridiculous points that racist people try to make to justify it because that's all that happens. Well, she was this, well, she was that. And the more that gets perpetuated, the more a lot of that becomes a lie. And so now the other cop that was involved and the one that got shot, uh, Mattingly, he did an interview where he got on TV and tried to play victim. He got on TV and tried to act like, oh, my family's suffering and going. Look, man, at this point, we don't really care about what your family is going through right now. And I'm just going to say that straight out because I'm thinking about what Breonna Taylor's family is going through. Had y'all handled that situation properly, your family wouldn't be going through this, neither would Breonna Taylor's family. This guy got in this interview, he starts bringing up George Floyd. He assassinated the character of George Floyd in an interview where he was supposed to be dealing with his own situation for what he did to Breonna Taylor, all the while talking about how unracist he is, or not racist he is. So this is the mindset that black people deal with on a daily basis to where the entitlement of three crooked officers is so great that even in the face of taking the life of a young 26-year-old black woman, he still has to get on TV and figure out a way to make himself look good and make himself look like the victim. This man was shot because he broke into a house unannounced, and there were 10 witnesses that verified that they heard no officers announce themselves. And the one that did go against the grain had initially agreed with the other 10. And these guys are trying to make themselves, they're trying to clean up what they did, basically. Daniel Cameron assisted them in doing that. But you sit around and talk about how they were just doing their job and they did what they had to do. But all the while, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, did what he had to do. He did what anybody would do if somebody was breaking into their home. And it's funny how the defense of Kenneth Walker goes out the window because it's Kenneth Walker, because he's a black man. But in any other situation, oh, he did what he had to do. He exercised his Second Amendment right, and he did what anyone would have done if he didn't know who was coming into their home. He had the right to defend his home. But Kenneth Walker didn't have the right to defend Breonna Taylor and himself. So this is a hypocritical society that we live in, man. It's a society that consists of outright racists and undercover racists. And I don't want to say oblivious racists. Some people kind of come off like they don't know. They'll say something that's like extremely racist, and then it's like, "Did you know what you just said?" And like, "What? What did I say?" So I mean, it just depends on how you look at it. But I'm hoping that more information keeps coming out that will possibly, don't bank on it, but that will possibly put more pressure on this case where Breonna Taylor can get some justice. Um, the other officers, the one who did the interview, Mattingly and the other guy, they have not been charged. And again, the charge on Hankerson might as well not be a charge. But maybe if they can redo this thing and different charges come down, we might see something different. But don't hold your breath on that, because we are living in the United Snakes of America. So that's what it is, man. Hit your big brother up, like, comment, subscribe. Um, and I'll see y'all when I see y'all, man. Peace.